If you like this video, why not subscribe?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the weekly recap Q&A. That's the show where I answer questions from last week and also share links that have accumulated on Facebook and Twitter. Those are all down below, so if you're not interested in anything I'm saying, you can always check out the description and find lots of useful links from last week. So if you'd like to reach me to ask me a question, the email address is thefrugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. That's the best way to reach me to get your question asked on this show. There's also other methods, of course, but that's the best one, I think. So let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. Again, if you're not interested in seeing what I'm doing, just tab away. It's kind of like a podcast. I'm just going to talk for a while and answer these questions and maybe do a little bit of ranting and updating later. The first question comes from Francisco Gonzalez Jr. He asks, are there any benefits to stopping down or raising the f-stop number in camera? I only ask this because I hate raising my shutter speed on sunny days because you get that unrealistic motion blur. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not an expert about apertures and lenses because I've only recently got into the interchangeable lens world by getting a camera that can take different lenses versus a stock and a video camera with one lens, or maybe the wide angle lens that screws onto the front of that. But from what I have learned, there's all kinds of benefits to stopping down. One thing I know of specifically is that your lens, at least the Minoltas that I use, from everything I've read about them, say that when you're stopping down or closing the aperture, raising the number, as you say, that your image will be sharper. And I'm not sure why that is exactly, but it seems like shooting wide open, your lens, your image is softer. And by stopping down at least to something like 2.8, or I guess it depends on whatever your lens runs at. I have a 50 millimeter 1.7. If I stop that down to 2.8, it's supposed to be sharper. Of course, by doing that restricts light, of course. So if you're overexposed, that's one way to restrict the light coming into your camera. But I see what you're saying. I mean, if you want to if it's a really sunny day and you want to, restrict the amount of light that comes in, you can always raise your shutter speed. That will restrict the light as well. But if you don't want to do that, another thing you can do is always get a neutral density filter. Those are those kind of dark filters. You can find them on eBay really cheap. Just look for the thread size of your lens. You put those on the front of your camera. That will restrict the amount of light coming in, and you don't have to touch the aperture. You don't have to touch the shutter speed. It's just a way of independently restricting the light coming into the camera without adjusting those other two. So if you want, let's say, a more shallow depth of field, to do that, of course, you need to open your aperture. Closing it will give you more deep focus, or deeper depth of field instead of shallow. So to do that, if you don't want to touch your aperture, you like the depth of field where it is, and you want to, but it's the image is too bright. Excuse me. Put an ND filter on the end of your lens, and that will take care of the light coming in without forcing you to adjust the shutter speed or the aperture. So, I mean, there are advantages, to adjusting all these things. If you crank the shutter speed up, obviously you're going to get more kind of sharper. Each picture is going to be sharper with less blur. Usually that seems to be the case. If you want to take stills, you want to crank up the shutter speed. If you want, if there's action happening, you want a faster shutter speed so that when you take a picture, there won't be that blur. If someone's waving their hand and the shutter speed is really low, it's going to be blurry. If it's faster, it's going to, you're going to get a stop because the shutter will be going so fast it'll catch the image at the position you want it to be sharpest at. But in video, usually, the rule is you're running your shutter speed at twice the frame rate, whatever. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, your shutter speed should be 1/48th of a second. A lot of cameras don't have that, so you do it 1/50th or whatever is closest to 1/48th. So obviously experiment, but I think it sounds like from what you want to do, Francisco, you don't want to mess with the shutter speed. It sounds like you don't want to mess with the aperture too much, and if not, you can always just use an ND filter because they're really inexpensive. And there's also the variable density filters that are a little more expensive, but they allow you to restrict the light because it's like an ND filter that turns. So you can turn it and restrict the amount of light, or turn it back the other way and more light comes in. It's just again another way of adjusting the amount of light coming in without messing with your aperture, without messing with your shutter speed. Although changing the aperture does have its benefits, as I said before. It'll adjust how shallow the depth of field is. The more open it is, the more shallow the depth of field will be. The more closed it is, the more deep focus you'll have, or more things will be in focus in the background. So, experiment, play with these things, but you also might want to pick up a set of ND filters or a variable ND filter. Those are good things to have anyway, depending on your situation. I don't have any yet myself, but I definitely see the advantage, and I need to get some. It's on the long list of stuff I need to get. Okay, I have a letter from Thomas H. here. I'm not going to try and pronounce Thomas's last name because I'll probably mess it up and not even come close. But he says, Scott, thank you for making this channel. It has really helped me with starting my YouTube channel, Slippery Chicken Barbecue. Great name, by the way. A one-man show. This makes it hard to run the camera, talk, and cook all at the same time. Do you have any tips or interesting ways to make camera shots when you are a one-man show? You kind of have a challenge here because, as you probably know from all of my stuff, I'm essentially, when I'm on camera, I'm just setting up a camera and I'm talking directly into it. And a lot of the other stuff that I'm doing, although I guess this could apply to a cooking show because I have what I call the tabletop shows or the tabletop shots, where I'm building something on camera and all you're seeing is my hands and the items that I'm building. So that could be kind of like a cooking show. And all I'm doing there, as you probably know if you've followed this or seen me talk about it before, or watch videos, is that I just have a camera at a really high angle. It's probably at least 8 feet in the air, pointing down at the table, and then I'm zooming in to follow my hands. And then I'm just taking that one shot and I'm editing it, for time. If I'm doing something and it takes too long, I'll just, cut it and then put a dissolve in between so it goes faster. But cooking shows are kind of, essentially the same thing. So as far as getting interesting shots, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in like a TV station, I used to work at a TV station, and we did a cooking show, and they had a mirror above the cooking set that was angled toward the cameraman, so someone could shoot the mirror, and then that would, we could see straight down what was happening on the table. So you get that kind of angle. You've probably seen it before, where it's like a straight down angle. But that's how I did it, is with a mirror, because obviously you can't, go above the table without maybe getting, in front of somebody else's camera shot. So that's one way you can do that. You can always, build something like the frugal crane, so you can get a top-down shot, which might help you in a cooking show. You can always shoot with multiple cameras, even if they're unmanned, even if you're by yourself. You could always shoot the cooking set with multiple cameras, shoot in full resolution HD, and then you can always crop it a little bit if you want to cut to closer shots. Of course, that takes more cameras and more planning, but that's not a bad way. Obviously, you're going to spend some time in post-production, making this all cohesive. I would refer you to a show like Hyla Cooking, which is produced by Christopher Sharp, who's another independent filmmaker, and his wife, Hyla Johnson. She's been on my show before. But again, then you're dealing with, you have talent and you have somebody else running the camera, so it doesn't really apply to you. But if you look at that show, you can kind of see what he's doing, because he doesn't use any top-down shots, like kind of the old school method of doing a cooking show. It's all, from different angles, which I don't know if they shoot it all at once with several cameras or if they reshoot the close-ups. But again, it's just a matter of planning out your shots, figuring out what you're going to do, and then doing some editing in post. If you're trying to do a show, it also depends on how the format of your show is. Like this kind of show, one you're watching right now, one of my main goals is just to crank it out, get it done as soon as possible. So I'm doing everything in camera, on camera microphones. I'm taking this video and I'm trimming it in camera, and then it re-renders in camera, and then I'm uploading it. This show never hits an editor. It's just because I don't have a lot of time to do it, so I have to do it as fast as possible. So that's how this show has turned out. But as far as interesting camera angles, that's what I recommend. The mirror thing's a lot harder to pull off, because then you have to find a way of suspending a mirror above the set. Not always practical or cheap. So, maybe something like the frugal crane will help you to do that, where you can get some of those top-down shots without too much expense if you're willing to build that. Or a ladder, or whatever. Set up multiple cameras that are unmanned, and go from there. So I hope that helps with your show, Slippery Chicken Barbecue. Great name. I'll have to watch that show. It sounds very cool. Okay, Davey Hollowell writes me and says, I recently shot an 8-minute film with a few friends. Being 13 years old with limited money, all I had in my filming bag was my camera, a tripod, and a script. I love all your PVC builds, but I don't know where to start. Even if equipment isn't the next step, what do you think is? Well, Davey, you probably have more a better grasp on what you're doing than a lot of people, I think, because number one, you've got a tripod. That's a great start. And a script. Seems like a lot of people, just to crank out stuff or doing things, they don't even think about it ahead of time. It's more of improvisation, which there's nothing wrong with. But if you have the mentality to have a script, write things down, that shows that you're willing to plan things. You also have a tripod, which means you're not just going to shoot everything handheld and as fast as possible, but you're taking some thought and you care about maybe what your shot looks like. So that's good. As far as the next step, you mentioned that you like all my PVC builds, and thanks for that. But you don't, ironically, like one thing I always try and tell people is that, you don't need a ton of stuff to make a movie. You don't need a ton of gear. All you really need is a good story and desire and a camera. A script is always a good place to go as well, to have one of those. But if you're worried about, the next big thing you need, I would say you have a great start. Maybe you could work on, probably the next most important thing I would say is lighting, because that definitely affects your image, or sound is really, really important. So, definitely if all you're shooting is with on-camera microphones, which is the worst possible sound ever, maybe think about getting a microphone. I know you say you don't have a lot of money, but even if you have a really cheap microphone and you put it in the right place, again, placement, technique is everything versus gear. If you have a cheap microphone and put it, just out of the frame line near your actor, you will have much better sound than if you had a really nice microphone in the wrong place, way far away from your actor. You want to have your microphone as close to the actor's mouth as possible. Or with lighting, even if you just have a couple of lights, you could set up, you could if you understand, key light and fill light, 3-point lighting, which I've made a video about that. I can leave, a link below. You're ahead of the game. You just know where to put a couple of lights and move them around and see what looks good. That will make your movie that much better because it'll look more professional. So those are the two things I would recommend: lighting and sound. Probably sound first, because if you have amateur sound, you're going to tip off the world, whoever's watching your video, that you're an amateur. Where if you take some time, people can understand what your actors are saying, because everybody's spoiled by television. They expect to be able to hear things, even if your image isn't the best. People will forgive that, but they won't forgive poor sound, because they can't hear what the actors are saying, and that's obviously really important. So that's what I would recommend: lighting and sound. And I'll leave you some links to some videos that can help you below that I've made. And of course, the internet's chock full of this stuff. YouTube, there's videos all over the place about audio and lighting, and that's how important that stuff is. So that's all the questions for this week. The question I'm going to propose to everybody is, we had that question from Thomas, excuse me, about shooting by yourself, shooting solo, what could make the shots more interesting. So that's what I'm going to ask all of you. When you guys shoot your shows by yourself, what do you do to make it more interesting? What do you do to make it better or unique, or something that could help one man, other people that are trying to do shows by themselves? Because like a lot of micro budget folks like me, I'm it a lot of the time. I don't usually have a lot of talent on the instructional videos that sounds really good. I don't have any talent, all right. Or as in actors, to shoot. I'm the actor, I'm the talent, I'm the producer, the director, editor, everything else. So if anybody has any tips for Thomas that might help him when you're kind of one-man banding, please comment below. That'd be great. Again, if you want to ask a question on this show, thefrugalfilmmaker@gmail.com is the best place to ask, and your best chance of getting your question on the show. So please send me those. The blog, www.thefrugalfilmmaker.com, is kind of the hub of all this Frugal Filmmaker information. There's the Facebook group, which you can search for, or just click on the link below. That'll take you there. It's a huge forum, basically. People are willing to help you, answer your questions. Not just me, lots of other people are on there that are way more talented and know more than I do, so it's a great resource. You can also post your video, get people to critique it, give you tips. There's great deals we find on the internet every week, and they're posted there. And then there's Twitter. I'm on Twitter, @FrugalFilmmaker is my Twitter handle. So anyway, have a great week. I'm going to, I started talking about my thesis film, Collection Day. It has been approved, and I'm going to start shooting that in September. A lot of pre-production this summer, but I'm not going to talk about it as much on this show because I realize it just bloats the running time of the show. And I know that people don't. When people see 20 minutes on a show on YouTube, I think they tune out. So I'm going to concentrate more of that information on my blog, thefrugalfilmmaker.com. So you can kind of, if you want to keep up on that, that's where the bulk of the information will be, as well as some videos I'm going to make based on equipment I'm building for that. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on too long about that right now because, again, it makes the running time look longer, and then people tune out or don't even bother watching. So anyway, have a great week. Good luck making your movies. We'll see ya.